Hey guys, it is Chris here from Chris's Creative Life, and I design workshops that help you create beautiful layouts from start to finish with easy to follow guides. So here we are. It is, as I promised, Friday at 3 o'clock. And we're going to do a fun layout. Just let me share this over onto my group and we can get started. So I have grabbed some fun supplies. I decided to stick with stuff from the annual idea book today. So we still have time for the annual idea book, and so I'm just going to open this up because if I look over here, lots of times I miss the comments. So I'm just going to open this up so I can actually see what's happening, because like I said, sometimes I miss it and then it's gone. So if you don't have this sketch that I created, there is a downloadable PDF that you can print and put in your own stash to use with the supplies that you have, your stash, whatever that might be. I'm going to show you some examples. But so if you don't have the PDF and you'd like it, if you simply comment sketch, I can send you in the right direction. Okay, so I'm just going to move this up a little bit. So like I said, I've grabbed some supplies from the annual idea book. So we're going to have a lovely theme today because I did a slimline card on Wednesday. So I thought we would keep with that same theme. But I'm going to show you a few examples that I've used to create the sketch. All the videos are here in the feed. So if you just, you can either scroll, or you can go to the video section, or sometimes it's actually easier to find video content on my YouTube channel. So if you need to know where that is, I can help you out. But I'm going to put you down on my desk here and make myself smaller. You can see, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to change the sketch up. So I did this fun happiest place version of my son playing rugby, and I love the way that the little banners turned out on the side. They're perfect for like a sports kind of theme, but they'd also be great for like a birthday theme or anything like that. So that's that one. And speaking of birthdays, I actually did a 2-page spread with the sketch and party time, which is, as you know, birthday party themed. So this was a fun one with a flip flap here. And then I used a journaling card for my journaling, like a 4x6 PML card. And I used some stickers to add that into my journaling. So just a little, when you have those little stickers, there's lots of ways you can use them. Then I did a You Are Enough version, which was super pretty with the 3D flower thin cut and holographic paper. It turned out really pretty. And then there is also a Bloom and Grow one with Happiness Lives Here. The name was escaping me there for a second. But so those are a couple of the different versions that I've done. I'm just going to move them out of the way here so that I have some space. And so, like I said, I've grabbed some products from the Lovely, and I've got some PML cards. I think we're going to cut one up. That's my thought process on this. So I also have some embellishments, and so I used the hexagon thin cuts today and cut up some of the Lovely paper in various sizes. And so that's what I think I'm going to use as my accent with the Lovely paper. So I have the end of my sticker sheet here too, because I've used this paper pack quite a few times. So, but I still have stickers left, so we're gonna probably add some stickers on here. Okay, so when you follow the sketch, it gives you all the measurements, some photo sizes. So I have 3 full-size photos on here and then 2 smaller photos that are 3x4s, which you can print if you want a full-size 4x6 as a 3x4 photograph, right? So here we go. And I'm going to show you some of the differences. For starters, on this one, I have like a 1/2 inch border. We're not going to do that today. We're going to just go with the full cardstock with no border around the outside. That's the first change we're going to make. And because I thought that might be fun. I actually was trying to decide if I should distress the edges of the cardstock or not. But I think I decided I'm not going to, because I have something in mind that I want to do on a different layout. So I think we're just going to not distress the edges of this. So I have some photos here. Like I said, I've printed some photos. And so these are the 2 for my right hand page. And then I have 3 for the left hand side. And so I kind of went with like a Father's Day dad kind of theme. But so my thought is we're going to use this card for our title. There's no place like home. And I actually think I'm going to cut it up at the top there. I just need to grab my trimmer in a second. Okay, so like I said, we're not going to do the 2 layers on the outside. We're going to go straight down with the 12x12 on the 12x12. And I have my pieces all cut, and because the sketch gives you all the measurements, you do not need to worry about it. So if you need the sketch and you've missed it, just comment sketch and I'll send you in the right direction. Okay, I just have to think about how I want to put these on here. So this is kind of what I'm thinking we're going to do here. So I can move that up a little bit. So I'm going to grab my paper trimmer and we're going to cut this. Whew, I couldn't find it there for a second. I have been creating a workshop, and so I keep changing all the stuff out on all my tables because I need lots and lots of space sometimes. And then I set it down somewhere and can never remember where it is. Okay, so I'm going to cut this off because we're going to use that as our title. And I think I might fussy cut those. We're just going to see here for a second. So I'm just going to put this down on the chair beside me. So I think this is the way this is going to go. Like this. Now I'm just trying to decide how I want these layered. So these are my photos for this side. So maybe we should add our photos first and then we'll decide. So one of the skinny layers, so there's 2 sets of layers that are 1/2 inch on here. And so I grabbed a Bluebell shimmer trim for one of them. And I think I'm going to use a zip strip for the other. So there's the boys in their yellow shirts. This was before the mud run. You should have seen those shirts after the mud run. They were not so yellow anymore, no matter how many times we took the hose to them, or they sat in a bucket in the backyard for a very long period of time, and still it did not come out. So, okay, so then there's this funny photo of my husband and my daughter. And actually, well, I'll say, while I was looking for these photos, I realized I need more pictures of her with him. So, as they always say, make sure you're in the photo. So every once in a while, it's a good idea. I have some, I I have some cute photos of them at another event, but I decided to use this older photo here. Okay, so then I'm going to, so I just, like I said, I'm trying to use up what I have. So I have cut a whole pile of hexagons. I have to say, hexagons are one of my favorite shapes for using to fill in the spaces. So that's what we're going to go with. But let's just adhere these pieces down first. So I am going to, so you can see on the sketch here, so I have these pieces underneath and then this one across. So I'm going to do that now. So like I said, I'm not using that border. I might add a line around the outside or distress the outside yet. We will see. I didn't really feel though that these papers really, I know how I wanted to distress them and I don't think it would work with this layout. So I might just do a different layout. So there we go. And I thought the hearts were perfect on here. So here we go. I got this down. And I think I'm just trying to decide if I will dovetail this or not. Because I think I'm going to dovetail this piece here for the title. So super easy. I'm just cutting up the middle, approximately the middle, and then in from each side. I find that the easiest way to connect so that it kind of lines up. Okay, I think I'm going to leave this square. So all the measurements are on the sketch. If you want the sketch, all you have to do is comment sketch and I can send you in the right direction. And after, I will for sure add the photos up. Okay, so I picked Bluebell because I wanted to use some Bluebell sequins. So that I'm also trying to use up my Bluebell stuff. So I love the Bluebell. Okay, so I'm just going to cut the shimmer trim just on a diagonal angle, not with a dovetail. So just so that, and I'm just doing them the same on both ends, just like that. So I knew I wanted the, I think I have to actually grab the other zip strip because I only see one zip strip for this side here. So I'll have to grab the bag behind me. I don't know how I missed that. Okay, I'm going to get my Versamat. Yeah, so I think that, so in the upcoming weeks, we'll have Christmas in July still coming. Oh, maybe we'll do some lots of distressing on Christmas in July. That would be fun. Okay, so now I want this across. And I think we will go, excuse me, about there. It's turned crazy hot here again, so I probably need to be drinking more liquid. And I waited until the last second to turn on all my lights in my office so that it would not be too hot. Okay, so then there, like I said, there's 2 1/2-inch pieces on here. So you can use a zip strip. You could also just use paper cut in a 1/2 inch, or the shimmer trim, which is not quite 1/2 inch, but okay. So then here is how we are coming together. Okay. So this is how we're roughing this in. Okay, so I have to tell you, I think it was last week, I got 3 messages from people that had used the sketch in different ways. So somebody sent me a picture of one of their layouts that they used the You Are Enough, and it was like a vacation layout, which was super pretty. And then somebody else sent me a message that they used the sketch at their event. I think I'm going to go a little bit higher with this. Okay, so I'm just going to, I'll go back to that. But so you'll just notice that I've actually like just slightly overlapped this edge onto the shimmer trim so that I'm kind of connecting it to the page, and there wouldn't be like a strange little gap there. I just wanted to kind of point that out. So when I'm laying photographs down, whether they're matted or not matted, it doesn't really matter. I'm trying not to lay them right on a line because it really stops when you're looking at the layout. Stops your eyes when you're looking at the layout. Okay, I think I might fussy cut these out. Okay, but I do have these hexagons, and we're going to kind of lay these in little bits of groupings. So this is how I'm going to tie my 3 visual spots kind of together, is with my hexagons. And like I said, I just kind of picked some patterns. Okay, I might put this on the other side because it's the heart one. So I just picked miscellaneous patterns that I have left and different sizes. I kind of stuck with whatever I wanted to kind of use up. Okay, and I love that hexagons can be butted up to each other or overlapped. And they kind of connect everything together. I think I might add some more. Okay, we're going to stop here, and I'm going to put together the other side, and then we'll pull everything together. Okay, so I'm just going to move my sign for a second out of my way. So we've got our houses up there. Okay, so here is the other side. So on this side, you'll see, so I have matching papers in the middle, so you can either keep them the same or you can switch them around. I've done it both ways. And then I have another piece on the other side. So it's similar to the first side, but the dimensions are different, but it brings the whole 2 pages together. Okay, so I think, like I said, I think I am missing. Okay, so, and on this side, I've got this piece that matches on this side in the middle of the layout. Like in the middle of the 2 pieces of paper. So, but I need the zip strip to go across. So let's just, okay, where did I put that paper pad? Ah, here we go. Okay, sorry about that. And I'm sure I cut it, but oh, this would have been a good zip strip too, but now I have one down. We have to make them the same. So I just need to find it in here. Okay, it's this one. So I love the zip strip. Sometimes they just add just a little bit of something extra, but they all coordinate. And I like sometimes because they're just like, it's concentrated pattern in a little tiny spot. Okay, so now we are good to go. Okay. So I've used also the coordinating colors to mat all my photos, right? So these are on Sage, that's Ballerina, this is Canary. Here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. So there's probably actually one more light I should probably have on, but I think it's too hot in here. So I'm just going to push my keyboard out of the way so I don't tap it by accident. Okay, and I'll get my second mat. So I just have my Versamat sitting side by side so that it's super easy for me to line everything up. Okay, so then I was going to tell you the second story of the second message that I received, and I'm pretty sure it was last weekend. Let's get straight here at least. And somebody said they used the sketch at their event with their customers and they had fun. So the first they did 4 12 by 12 pages or 2 double page spreads. So the first time they used it like this, and then the second time they turned it upside down and used it, right? So don't forget you could always do that, right? You can use this strip like as your title strip. If obviously you'd want to rearrange your photographs or change your photograph sizes, but you could add your title across this strip and do it in reverse. You could also do them like this. So that you're flipping them the other way. I'll show you at the end. I'll pull one of the layouts over and show you what that would look like. Obviously my photographs won't be in the right direction, but just because a sketch is in one direction doesn't mean you have to leave it that way. And I think that too, also one of the things I really wanted to show you, because I cut this from the same piece of paper, this middle piece, these two middle pieces can be cut from the same piece of paper. So you're going to notice, because I can see the stripe, I'm going to just make sure that the stripe is going in the same direction when I lay it down. Versus if I flipped it over like this, it still looks fine, but it doesn't, it doesn't line up, right? So that's a Sage line, and then this is a darker line, and then we have Bluebell. So the little details sometimes bring the eye from one side to the other. So just because a sketch is in one direction, don't forget you don't have to actually use it that way, right? You could also very easily switch out your photo sizes on this layout. I tried to create it so that there was a lot of room to add photos. If anybody looks at my workshops, you know I really like standard size photographs. I use a lot of 4x6s, 4x4s, and 3x3s in my workshops. And then a 3x4 can really just be printed, a 4x6 printed smaller. You could print your photo exactly the way it came out of your camera if you want it. Okay, so same thing. I've got my diagonal edge up at the top. So I'm just going to cut the same diagonal on at the bottom. Just so that they look similar. So I thought that was fun. So she said they did them like back to back as a series of 2 double page spreads. You guys have all seen the shimmer trim trick with the adhesive on the edge. So I'm just doing it on the edge of my desk today because Lots of times when I do it on the edge of my Versamat so I could show you guys, I end up sticking something down onto it. Okay. So now, because this is on my Versamat, I can see exactly where I need to add this one so that they line up when they come together. Right here. So, and obviously you can play with this banner too, right? Like if you wanted it as a title spot, you can move it up or down depending on what you want to do with it. Okay, there we go. So now I'm just going to add my zip strip. For sure, Elizabeth, I'll get you the sketch right after I finish. So, and I'll add these photographs all up on this weekend too onto the page. Okay, so here we go, right? So you can see, like, I've got 3 full photographs exactly the same way they came out of my camera. And if I wanted, I could add way more photos on here very easily. Okay, so I'm just going to get my photos down and then we're going to do the fun part, filling it in. So, like I said, same thing here. So you're going to notice I wouldn't put my photograph right here because it really draws your eye to that big gap, right? So I'm covering up the opening and adding my photo up just a little bit higher. Okay. And these ones, I had to actually check and see if they were stuck down. Okay. So now we can fill in the fun. So on the sketch here, right, I used little journaling strips, right? But today I wanted to use a PML card because I think I got some more stuff to say on this one. So I just grabbed a 3x4 PML card and we're going to add that here. Then I have some hexagons so we can tie the 2 pages together. So I'm kind of laying down my biggest ones first, how I want them. And then I'll lay in my smaller ones. And then I will, so same thing here too, right? I'm just kind of being careful of my edges here. I do know for these though, right, I'm going to add some more layers in with different levels of 3D foam tape. So just kind of, I think we'll do something like that. And this one over here. And this I'm going to lay in here. And yes, I think I'm going to fussy cut out my little houses here. So I'm going to try and just do that really quickly. So when you're fussy cutting, it doesn't necessarily have to be just something that you've stamped, right? Remember that you can cut up parts of your PML cards and use them in different ways. So there are, on that sticker sheet, also some houses you could use. So we might mix those in so that we get a kind of different texture. So I'm just leaving like a little tiny border around my houses. So these ones were kind of fun because they were different on the back. So lots of times when they create the Picture My Life cards, right, it's the same on the front and on the back. But One's vertical and one's horizontal. These ones were different. They were different on the front and on the back. So, and if I'm going to cut something up like this, you can be assured I'm going to use it all up at some point, right? So I'm just cutting a little bit of a border around the houses here. And these do mimic exactly the stickers. So for example, if maybe you had used up your stickers, but you still had your PML cards, you could just cut them up the way I am. And if there's a big chunk, you can see I'm just kind of getting it out of my way because I don't want extra cardstock or paper in the way. Okay. And my third one. So there's actually lots of things on these PML cards that you could totally fussy cut out and use on layouts. So here, let's just, oh, they're here. These are lots of journaling ones, but you could totally cut out your butterflies if you wanted. You could cut out that heart, right? You could cut down this floral. You could trim this out too, right? So it was a title that wasn't necessarily as a 4x6, but it would be shaped, right? So you could cut out the balloons, like just things like that. Sometimes you just have to look at things a little bit differently. Okay, so I'm going to adhere this down. And then I can decide how I'm going to position this over here. Okay, so I'm tucking that in. I want it to overhang here a little bit. Okay, and now we get to play with some 3D foam tape. So the nice thing too about the Lovely is that it's got those nice pastels, but there's little pops of brighter colors. So like one of the accent colors is evergreen, which is like quite bright, right? So it kind of, you can kind of manipulate it so it goes in lots of different directions. I'm just gonna put this to the side here. Okay, and then, so I'm going to adhere this one down. So I'm going to now start to put some of my bigger pieces down and then add in my smaller pieces. And so I am going to have some hanging off here. So we're going to trim that off from the back side after. Let's see. I think I want a different color over here. Okay, and I grabbed a little bit of embellishing thread and we're going to tuck this in, just add a little bit of something into another texture into my clusters. So I'm going to do 3 of them, and oh, I'm really crooked. I'm going to do them all right at the same time, and then I can just tuck them in as I go. So I'm just cutting off a length of embellishing twine. Well, 3, because I know I'm going to add it into each of the spots. So I'm kind of thinking of this as 1, this is 2, and this is the 3rd. Okay, and then I have my glue dots here. So I'm going to use a glue dot to hold these together. So these are, I think these are my bigger glue dots. So these are the biggest glue dot, okay? And so I'm just gonna wrap this around my finger, however big you think you want your little messy bundle. So I'm just wrapping around 3 of my fingers. And then I'll kind of get it how I want it. And then I'm just going to, where the 2 pieces, the 2 ends overlap, I'm going to just lay it down on top of my glue dot. And then I'm just going to fold my glue dot over top of those loose threads. Okay, I will, and then I'm going to do the other 2, but I'm going to lay this one in here. So normally I will just leave them on my roll, but I'll tuck this one in for you. Okay, so we've got a flat. I'm going to do this yellow flat. Okay, and I know I want, here, I'll pull this down a little bit. I know I want like my embellishing twine coming out of here. So, and I have not adhered my house down yet. So I have it on the glue dot, and now I can just hide my glue dot right behind where I know I'm going to have my house. So it's as easy as that. And then if I have to, right, you can mess it up some more. Just careful when you have a 3D foam tape on the back of something and then you lay it down, because you're not going to very easily move it. Okay, so now I'm going to put some thin 3D foam on here. So now I still know that I have my other 2 clusters there. So I'm going to add those to my glue dots, and then I can actually just set them aside and work on each cluster instead of finishing one up as I go. Because I find if I kind of work off them at the kind of the same time almost, they become more uniform. Okay, so I have my other 2 strands, right? So I'm just going to wrap them around my fingers, like I said, however big you think you want it. And then if this is too long, I'm just going to trim it off. And I have my glue dots here. So I'm going to lay my threads, my loose ends, over the dot, and then I can just fold it over top. Okay, and then I just set it down, and now I'm going to do my other one. So this is my last one for my same thing, right? I'm just rolling it up, This one's a little bit smaller because I did less. So I'll cut that end off because I don't like that it's so long. Okay, and then I'm just going to lay my ends over my glue dot. I can cut this out of the way because we don't need that there. Fold my glue dot over, and then these will just sit here until I need them, right? So you can do the same thing too with the smaller dots, the medium-sized dots. Just put one on top and one underneath. Okay, so I'm just setting that aside, and then I'll use it as I build my clusters here. Okay, so now I'm going to the other side because this is the smallest. So now I'm going over here for a bit. So I'm going to add my journaling box. And I decided to move it up a little bit. And I think I'm going to add 1 or 2 flat. This one I'm going to pop up on thin 3D foam tape. So you'll also always see me use different thicknesses of 3D foam tape, and that's just to add different dimensions to the layout. But if you don't like that, then don't do that. Just leave everything flat. It's totally a personal choice. Okay. And then I want my house in here. So I'm going to do that on thicker 3D foam tape. And this is then when I'm going to grab my glue dots with the embellishing thread on them. And this is because I know this is where I want to tuck it in. Right, so I know I have my house there. And I have my 2 little bundles here. So I'm going to, so this one I know is the smaller one that I made. So I'm going to save that for the other side because that's a small little cluster that I've got going on over there. So I know that by positioning it here, my glue dot will get covered up. If I need to trim out ends, I can trim out ends because they're also going to get covered up. There we go. Okay. So I want this one on thin tape too. Okay, so today we are almost on the weekend and it is summer. Who has exciting things going on this weekend? Actually, I think for some people it already is the weekend because it is morning on the other side of the earth. I've been, yeah, right, Pauline, it is morning. I've been very good. So I promised myself at the beginning, once it actually started to get nice here, I decided that I am taking weekends off this summer. So I've been very good. It's super hard for me, you guys, but I've been doing it. So I want something here, but obviously it can't be the same. And I might have done this one differently. Oh, here we go. We'll do this. And this. There we go. That worked. And I'm going to, okay, so I also want another level here. So I'm going to do, I'm going to add some more 3D, it's -2 degrees. Yeah, it's not that here. It's very hot here. We're back in another fire band. Oh, that'll be fun, hiking. Yeah, we're in, I don't know if I told that story. I think I told that story when I did my Slimline card earlier this week. My son mows the lawns for the city, and it has been declared too dry and hot to do any mowing. So instead they're building a road, which is like crazy because that's like super hot. So I'm not really sure how that's any better, but yeah. Just kind of, I shake my head some days. Okay, so this. Oh, here, look, we had another one. Okay, that's good. Okay, so I'm going to trim off the edge there in a second. And I want to pop this one up too. Okay, so because it's going to be overlapping, I've got 3D foam tape on the top and just adhesive on the bottom. But there we go. Oh, this one's not stuck down, so I need to put some adhesive on here. Here we go. Okay, so then we're gonna, this is done, but I'm gonna go in with some sequins in a second. I was trying to think of the word. Holy smokes. Maybe I'm getting heat stroke in my office. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not that hot. Don't worry about me. Okay, so last cluster. So I'm gonna, like I said, my big one is down already. Same thing, I'm gonna add my 3D foam tape here. And then we will use our last little bundle of embellishing thread. Okay, this one I know I'm going to pop up. So I think I'm going to have my embellishing thread come down this way. So it is right here. So, and like I said, this was the small one. And so I'm just going to add it right here because my house will cover that up. Right, and I'm just going to tuck my yellow one in there. And then add my house. Oh, you guys, we're getting super close to being done. we will be right around the 1 hour mark once we add in the sequins. Sorry, I just have to always keep making sure my hearts are going in the right direction there. Okay. And then, so I'm going to do this on thin 3D foam tape, but it's going off the edge of my page. So we're going to trim this off. So I'm going to show you when I have something that kind of runs off the page and I want to trim it off, because we're going to do it on both sides. Okay, I can move all that stuff out of the way. We're finished with embellishing thread. Okay, so that we can look at them together. So I'm going to turn it over and trim from the back side, because it's super easy to see your straight edge from the back side, right? So even if it's popped up, that was popped up on thin 3D foam tape, it's still nice and easy to trim from the back side. So let's get my Versamat out of the way, because we don't need that anymore. And we'll do the same thing on this other side here, about the trimming off the back. Okay. There we go. Remind me, I'm going to bring back in. Okay, so this one is hanging off the edge, right? So same thing. This one's just a little bit littler, It's just a little piece, but it's just so much easier to get it straight by flipping it over like that, so that you can see it that way. Okay, so now I'm just going to add in some sequins. But I am just trying to decide here if I want to add here. I think I want to add one more hexagon right here. I'm just seeing if I have something that will work. Obviously the stripe's not going to work. Okay, we might do this. Let's see this here. Okay, because I've glued this down already, but I'm going to add this in here. I am just going to cut from the back side. So I'm just going to grab my paper trimmer. And then I can kind of just tuck it in. No problem. Because there's still room to get in there. And the canary here brings in this down here and their shirts. And then I'm thinking we're just going to tuck this under here. I just want a little bit more peeking out. So same thing, I can look here and just trim out and then tuck it in. And then I don't have to worry about the fact that it is got 3D foam tape on it. And you would never know that it's not whole. Okay, so now we're gonna fill in with some sequins and then we are done. So I just have the Bluebell sequins And we're going to pick some and add it to some glue dots. You can do this lots of different ways, but I like glue dots. Those are big glue dots though. We do not need, there are my little glue dots. Oh, thank you. Okay, so I used to just, when the glue dots were on the outside of the roll, I would just add a whole pile of glue dots on the outside and then pull them off as I needed. But now the glue dots are on the inside. So I just kind of cut a strip because I know I'm going to use X amount of sequins. And I'll put this right here in the middle so you can see. So I'm just going to lay down my glue dots and pick out the ones I want. I'm looking for a variety of sizes and finishes. So there's all sorts of fun things in each of the mixes, right? There's matte finishes and iridescent finishes. There's white, there's little tiny shapes. There's different sizes. So I'm just kind of looking for a variety. Okay, so I have some of the bigger ones. Now I'm adding some of the smaller ones. This one flipped right out of the container onto here, so it's obviously meant to go on the layout. And then, because I know that my background is toffee, I can add white ones, no problem. Or French vanilla, I think maybe these ones are. Because this is the silver, and that's white in there. So I was trying to decide beforehand which I would do, but I think, well, I obviously decided because I decided when I picked the Bluebell Shimmer Trim. Okay. So I'm just going to add a few little sequins into each of these clusters. And that's just one more element that ties everything together here. Holy smokes, these glue dots are crazy strong today. Oh, that's funny. I have a glue dot that fell over here. I must put a glue dot there. It's obviously meant to be. See, sometimes they just create their layout, parts of the layout just create themselves. Here. It just wanted to be there. So I do have to say, I did like having the sequins on the other side, but I'm not sure that I could just unroll back up everything. Okay, so I know I want another big sequin here, and I want two more over here, and I want one of them to be a little bit small. Oh, there we go. A little bit smaller bluebell. That's, of course, the one I want. It's just running away. Okay. So I think we are good here. Okay, so if anybody needs the sketch, I'm going to come back in and I'll add the link for the sketch here in a second. I'll just talk you through how I changed this one up because I did do a few things differently. I'm just going to move those up there because you guys know I will dump them. Okay, so we used the original sketch, but I took out the inner piece. So on the sketch, there's a piece that's 11.5 by 11.5, and we didn't do that part today. So if I wanted, I could add like a line around the outside, but I actually like this one just the way it is, so I'm going to leave it like that. So I used hexagons in each of the clusters, cutting apart PML cards. We used the embellishing thread and the sequins. So I was going to show you on one of the other versions what I meant about flipping it around. So like this one has quite a dramatic title on it, but for example, so I didn't do this, right, the thin border on this one, but you can flip this way and put them together like this also. Okay, so it's funny, my dog, I can hear her, is sound asleep, but she must be having a nightmare because she's crying in her sleep right now. So you could flip it this way, right? You could also flip this one this way and move this over here, right? There's so many different things you could do with the sketch. Just because it goes in this direction doesn't mean it has to stay in that direction, right? So just remember that also. So I'm going to take some pictures of these ones and I'll add them in here this weekend. And so I think that's what I've got for, oh, you know what? I'm going to add some stickers in here because I specifically pulled them out to use them. So I'm going to do some hearts because I think that will be perfect. And so one there, and we're going to do a green one over here, and we're going to do one here. I actually think we're going to do another one right there. There we go. And then I just need one over here, and I think we'll do this yellow one. Yes, I totally at the beginning started talking about the stickers and then forgot to add them in. Okay, I'm going to pop this one up on 3D foam tape here. Now I think we're finished, guys. So that is cute. Okay, so there we go. So like I said, I'll come back in and I'll add the links so you guys can download the sketch. And I hope you all have a great weekend. And if anybody has any questions, always feel free to ask. I am more than happy to answer them. And I'll talk to you later. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye-bye.